Once we launch, how long is it until we can expect to get like busy? Just
It
like
really just
immediately?
yeah. So whenever it comes to, running the ads, either if we're starting DMs or the mini course, it just really depends. Whenever we start running the ads, for example, the mini course, like leads are gonna come in. Like leads are gonna come in depending on how much you're investing on advertising as well. Like you can get, anywhere from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20 a day. It just really depends on how much, you're spending. But as in terms of like busy, it's like one of the biggest mistakes that I see people do whenever it comes to the leads, is that they call them once and they're like, okay, these leads are not qualified. Like I don't pick up my phone, from a random number. Like I just straight up don't, like I'm too busy, or like it has to be someone who's constantly calling me, for me to really pick up. And this is just in any sort of, running any paid ads, either this being on Google, on YouTube, on Facebook, whatever it is. A lot of the sales comes from, from the 6th to 12th attempt. So if you're, already getting, leads, and for example, you're getting 5 leads, like, those 5 leads should definitely be called within like the first 5 days, 6 days, first week. And that's when you really start getting busy. Um, I've seen it in the past where, we had this person, he joined, he was like, hey man, I just want quality leads, quality leads. Never watched 5.1, never watched any of the sales training. Um, was pretty much ghosting us, and his ads were live. And when we keep like, hey, like, how are the ads going? Like, how are they going? Like, hey, we're seeing your CRM. They're not being pushed because we can see, and our account managers, we, I'm like, we look at that. That way we can push you guys. So like, hey, like this is what we're seeing. We're seeing that they're not being called. Like, what's going on? We like to find the leaks in the boat. So then, he was ghosting us, and then after 30 days, he's like, hey man, like, can I get the logins for the CRM? I was like, wait, what? Like, you haven't been able to log in your CRM, and we're, over here like reaching out to you. Long story short, like he ended up canceling because he said he called all the leads, called them once, and they're like, hey, they're not qualified. Well, the problem with that is that, you call them 30 days late, and they're already cold. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea. They don't even remember that, that they opted in for a free, course, or for like a free program. So then when it comes to that, it's just like, yeah, of course you're not going to make a lot of connects. It's just because they're already cold, they're already lost. Like one of the things that I do always strongly recommend, and Mike talks about this a lot, is as soon as a lead comes in, if you're able to, like, give them a call, because it's you're fresh in their minds. And if you guys don't have this, like, I do strongly recommend for you guys to have the Lead Connector app on your phone, which is your CRM. You have post notifications on. That way, anytime a new lead comes in, you have their information, and you can, and if you're able to right there, if not like, within that few hours, like you're able to call them, just because the longer you wait, the more, the chances of them not picking up, increases. So it's like, yeah, that's something that we just,
Uh, Um,
strong.
so since you're on that subject, I had a question too. So I've been getting a good amount of leads, but so some of them though go straight to voicemail, and like no matter what time like I've called a couple of these people like 10 times and go straight to voicemail. So I think is that what I don't know if they have like a system where if it's a number they don't know or it seems like scam. Like I mean it's my personal phone number, so it's not scam like, but
Yeah.
you go straight to voicemail, and then I thought maybe they have some like, or maybe they put the wrong number, or but it
So,
seems like it's their number. It's just going straight to voicemail.
so one
Those
one
are
of the things I
iPhones.
I I I recommend for that is, one, I would use a Google Voice number, or your own or your own phone number, never the number when it comes to the CRM, because lately Go High Level has been doing this thing that anytime you call from the CRM, it shows as spam likely. So you're not doing that. You said that you're calling from your phone number, from your phone.
Yeah, yeah. I'm calling from my personal phone number. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, how many calls are you giving? Let's say, for example, you get a phone number, you pick up the call, you get the phone number, you type it in, you dial, and then you press call. right? And they go straight to voicemail. Are you just leaving it as is, or are you calling again?
Usually, so I call again a couple of times, and then I wait for another time, like in the afternoon, and then I call again. And then if that's those couple of times in the afternoon, if they don't pick up, then I leave a voicemail
Okay.
and like stating who I am, because then they might, they might look at the voicemail and be like, oh, okay, it's this guy. But then,
Uh-huh.
yeah, like a couple of those, like I would say 3 people like that, I've called during different times, and then it called the following day during different time, and also didn't pick up. It's just going straight to voicemail, like no, no.
So one of the things I would recommend is doing a double tap, meaning that you call and then they don't, it goes straight to voicemail, to immediately call again. Like don't wait till the afternoon, like immediate call again. Because what happens is a lot of people have their phones on do not disturb mode. So when they have their phone on do not disturb mode, uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
it-
done. That's what I'm saying. I know that because sometimes I have my phone on do not disturb mode, so I have done that. But I'll make sure that I do that every single time. Though I possibly haven't done it to every single person, but I know that 2 or 3 people I've done it every single time. So I'll keep at it.
Yeah, so that's what I would recommend with that. So anybody here, listening, it's like don't call from the CRM. Like we're able to text from the CRM, but recently this is a change that they recently made too, is that the phone numbers are showing up as spam likely. And obviously, if it shows as spam likely, like the chances of someone picking up is very, very low. So that's one of the things I recommend. Two, it is if you're using, your phone number, like I would recommend using like a local area code number, right? Just because, the chance of people picking up from an area code that they know is much, much higher compared to if it's just like a random phone number that they just don't recognize, or a random area code. Okay. Two is that you do a double tap. Double tap, like I said, is just like a lot of people have their phone on do not disturb mode. Like right now, me, I have my phone on do not disturb mode. When I'm in meetings, I have my phone on do not disturb mode. So a lot of people, what happens sometimes, they just have it at do not disturb mode. So given that double tap, sometimes help. Now, and this is a trick that I learned, is that Mike taught me, is like I don't really leave a voicemail in the very beginning. I just send him a quick text message like, um, hey Joe, Joe, hit me back up. Got something good for you. So just something simple like that, and what that causes like curiosity of like, like, oh, who is this, person texting me? Like, do they know me? Like, who are they? So then, sometimes they call back. Now, if you do that and you see that they're not answering, then that's when I would just leave like a voicemail. But those are the steps that I would do. I mean, I feel like, when it comes to you calling, in different times, I feel like that does, it's good that you're doing that, just because everybody's schedule's a little bit different as well. So if you're only calling in the mornings but not giving, for example, in the afternoons and in the evenings a shot, then you may be missing out on a lot of connects. Another thing to keep in consideration is the times that you're calling. Like, yes, we do recommend like, hey, if a new lead comes in, like give them a call, right? But you at the same time you have to be, considerate of the time, just because, if it's late at night, it's 11, it's midnight, they're scrolling on social media, they see your ad, they opt in. Like, you don't want to call them right there because it's already, like midnight. And you're just gonna get someone, pissed off. You would just want to call them like, the next thing, first thing in the morning. Again, not super early. Like if you're someone who wakes up at, 5, 6 a.m., like you don't want to call them at 6:30 a.m., like they're probably gonna be sleeping. So just, being considerate of the time that you call them.